Hello everyone, my name is Andrei Baibu. I'm a pre-sales engineer at UiPath. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and today we will continue our series of webinars regarding applying CI/CD practices to RPA development. In our last webinar, we looked at how a basic CI/CD pipeline would look like, and we only had one stage. We only did the build of the actual artifact, and then we uploaded that package to an orchestrator. So we did roughly what we have now on the screen. As a developer, I would do a commit into a GitHub repository. That commit event would trigger a pipeline. We are using Azure DevOps as for demonstration purposes so far, and we'll be looking at other pipeline providers as well, maybe Jenkins, maybe AWS code pipeline in the future. Azure pipelines would download the code locally on a specially built build agent in a container which we created, our Dockerized robot. And in that container, we package the project into a NuGet package, and we would upload it to the UAT orchestrator. And then we looked in our platform.uipath.com, we looked in our service, UAT, and we noticed the fact that the package was actually uploaded and available for us to test. This is what UAT is there for. So if we navigate to packages, we see the fact that our UiPath sample project is here. We just ran the pipeline a little bit earlier because we made some alterations to it. And what we did was we added a machine, a UAT machine, and we created a robot, because today we will continue and we will actually test this project which we've published, and we will decide based on that to actually continue and promote it to production. So we will update our build pipeline, and we will actually see how we test the packages that we create. For us to improve our pipeline, we're going to start looking at Azure DevOps Pipeline structure. We know that we have right now one stage in our pipeline and one job. It looks like this. We have one stage, the stage is build, and we have one job, build artifact. Right now, for testing purposes, we've actually done more than just build. We have build the artifact here, and then we've actually uploaded it to orchestrator. So our naming is a little bit misleading when we should fix that. So we have one stage, build. We need to have actually two stages. The first stage is build, and the second stage is deploy to UAT. Now, let's look at Azure DevOps pipeline structure, and we're happy with the first one. The first stage is build, and the job is actually build, but we need to add it a little bit more, a couple of more steps. As for the second stage, which is deploy, we will use a special kind of job, which is deployment job, which is a wrapper around a sequence of steps, and it allows us to use one functionality of Azure DevOps called environment, which permits the introduction of a manual approval gate, which probably in our first stage, the UAT, will be maybe a QA engineer which will make the decision, and for production maybe we're gonna have a persona called release manager. Let's start modifying our pipeline and by adding this deployment job in its own separate stage. Let's copy this code and let's add a new stage. Let's say it's deploy UAT. I'm gonna give it a display name, which is deploy build artifact UAT. It will have depends on for build, which is our previous stage, and condition, which will be succeed. if I am not mistaken. Actually succeeded apparently. And we'll have to add this. Let's format it. Most of these keys we will not need. We're not gonna need this and this and this and this, and we will not need services, timeout, cancel, variables. We will not need any of these. We will give it a name for the deployment, which will obviously be deploy UAT. Give it a name. Orchestrator. Now, when it comes to the environment, we're gonna have to go into our Azure DevOps and build one. So, in pipelines, we have environments. We will create our first environment, which will be UAT. We will not have any resources associated to it. We'll say UAT orchestrator. Oops, if I could spell. And this is our first environment. It was never deployed. Let's give it approvals and checks. We will have one approval, and because I'm the only one who is actually on this project, there's going to be only me, but I will have different roles or personas here. Let's create. And so our first environment is called UAT, which is what we have to provide here. When it comes to container, we will just copy what we had before, because obviously we need to have the same capability on the build agent. And for the pool, the strategy is run once, and for the steps, we will start copying them. We will start with this. If you remember, we first published our artifact. In the next stage, we need to download it. The publishing means that the build artifact is stored by Azure DevOps in a secure location. All we need to do is actually download it on our build agent so we have access to it, so we can actually publish it to Orchestrator. So the reverse of publish is download. For our download, there is a shorthand. We can use just download. The artifact name, I can spell, is drop, because we named it here. The display name will be okay, and then we're gonna have to just copy this completely. Let's see how we are. While our pipeline is running, we noticed a small problem when we copied and pasted the add package line, which basically does the upload of the package to Orchestrator. We noticed the fact that, well, this is wrong. The artifact staging directory is not where the artifact will be downloaded. So after a little bit of Googling, we noted I found publish and download artifacts, which deals with publishing artifacts, normally from default working directory or default sources directory. But when we download it, so the other way, from Azure DevOps to our build agent, the default path is this one, pipeline artifact. So obviously when we try to actually publish the artifact, it won't be there. So we need to actually update this. So the build artifact staging directory variable is the wrong one. We need to use the pipeline workspace /drop, because this is the name of the artifact as we named it here, and then the actual name of the package being uploaded. And hopefully this will be the only one. Let's say git add everything, git commit update paths in Azure pipelines. When our first stage is complete, which is create build artifact, the pipeline will stop and will start waiting for a review to take place. Because we are now building our pipeline, our review will just be, well, I review and I will approve it. That's gonna be about it. But normally you might have some other steps. You might have some, you might look at, for example, workflow analyzer results, whether the package is built in accordance with our with the practices that the organization sets in place and so on. But right now we just review it and we continue with the next step, which is deploying to UAT orchestrator. Our pipeline was successful. Our pipeline now has two stages. We have create build artifact and we have deploy build artifact. On the deploy build artifact, we are using an environment. We are deploying this build artifact to UAT, and we have created this environment on our pipeline. The last activity was 33 minutes ago, but this pipeline was executed 7 minutes ago. So every time our jobs will be executed and we will deploy to the UAT environment, the runs and the deployments will appear here, will be listed one after the other. So our pipeline has produced one artifact, we know that, which is the NuGet package in the first stage. In the second stage, it has uploaded to orchestrator. It's not downloaded. So in our orchestrator, in the UAT service, we should be able to see the latest version here, which is great. Now, as a QA engineer, what I will do is, remember, we still have a lot of manual steps in this. We don't have everything automated. As a QA engineer, I would say, well, we have a new package, we need to test it. So I would go to processes, I would take this process and I would upgrade to the latest package version. Do this. In future iterations, we're gonna start looking at how we can upgrade the process to use the latest package version automatically, so we don't have to do this manually. We have updated the process. Let's run it. We have one UAT machine, so we have one testing machine, which is this one. The robot is connected to orchestrator. We have one process in the process list, which we can download manually and install, or we can trigger directly from the orchestrator, which we're gonna do right now. So we have one job, which is the the sample project. We're gonna run it on the UAT machine with a job priority of normal, and we will wait for the logs to come back to us. Our session has been ended because we didn't choose the login to console, which is fine. And our process was successful. We have successfully started the execution, and we have successfully printed hello world from the robot. If we don't want to be logged out of our remote desktop connection on our VM when the robot starts executing, we should go to, we can edit, should go to settings and just enable login to console, click no, update, and we can run processes on the same machine while being connected to it. So as you can see, well, it was pretty quick. The process was executed on the VM, but we were no longer disconnected from the remote desktop connection. And the robot was executed successfully. What we've done so far is we've built the artifact into a NuGet package, and we've uploaded to our UAT environment, our first environment. Obviously, we want to add the production environment, and since we're adding stages to our build pipeline, let's do that right now. All we have to do is copy the stage deploy to UAT and just make it deploy to prod. This stage will depend on the successful deployment to UAT, so we will say deploy to UAT as a precondition. While the environment will no longer be UAT, it will be prod, meaning that in our Azure DevOps pipeline, we will have two environments. One will be UAT, one will be prod, with two manual gates, and each of the gates can have different people to actually approve the promotion of the build artifact. Obviously, we also need to update our token and our credentials because we did use the connect to API data from the UAT environment, and now we're going to have to use the production one. So if we use the same naming convention of our variables, we just have to modify this and in our platform, go back to platform, services, and grab all these details from here, API access. Our Azure DevOps pipeline is updated with new variables for the production environment. Our pipeline has a new stage, which will be deployed to prod and will depend on deploy to UAT. All we have to do is actually create the new environment, which is prod, which is the production orchestrator, if I could spell, and approvals and checks. Again, we'll have one approval and it will be myself playing a different role, this time release manager probably. We should be okay with this. Let's add all the files. We've just modified the Azure pipelines. Git and let's build. Our pipeline has been successful. We now have 3 stages. The first one is the actual artifact build. The second one, we have a manual gate, and after the reviewer approves, the package is uploaded to orchestrator to UAT environment. And now we've added the actual deployment of the package to production. If we go to our UiPath platform, we have UAT, which we saw the last time during our last build. Now we're going to look at prod. And we should see in prod the existence of a new package, of the only package actually, which should be here as a result of the last pipeline run being executed. So in packages, we have UiPath sample only 2 minutes ago. So we work in Studio. We have a project. Our project is Hello World. Nothing else, nothing more. We want to trigger a pipeline. We want to trigger the execution of a pipeline which will build and then deploy our package. And we want to have traceability. So in Azure DevOps, we have added the production stage on master. We have 3 stages, and each stage will take the same build artifact, which we are building here. This build artifact, which we've looked at before, which is a NuGet package. Yeah. The NuGet package name and version will contain the build run, which right now is a little bit cumbersome. It's a little bit too long. We're gonna shorten it because it will appear in our platform on orchestrator the same way. And the build number is, we don't need so many versions, so many numbers after one in our version. And we've deployed it to UAT, and we've also added prod, and we have added 2 environments, and each run of the pipeline will also be found here. So we can see from one commit, let's say from this commit, which will take us to our UiPath sample project in our GitHub. So from this commit, we can track all the way to production what happens along the pipeline. And next time we will put a little bit of scaffolding around our pipeline. We're gonna add some triggers on pull requests, because not everyone is gonna be working on master. We do want to have this pipeline. Well, we want to have enough functionality in this pipeline that actual teams can use it, not only just one person working on master and that's it. And we will also add automatic testing. And see you next time.